What's up, guys? Amplified Q&A, my favorite video of the week. Taking your guys' questions, shooting the shit about pro wrestling for the next roughly an hour, give or take. A lot to get to, but you guys know how I like to start Q&As with a little bit of a monologue, a top story or a top subject that's on my mind. Sometimes I take 5-10 minutes on it. Sometimes it's like the Sasha Banks bullshit, where I spend almost a half an hour. So, this shouldn't be too long. This is about a little possible spoiler for SummerSlam. But it's pretty big. And that's who's walking out with the Universal Championship. Now, as you can see by the thumbnail, that's right. There's no cliffhanger here. It's Kevin fucking Owens that WWE is looking at right now to walk out of Brooklyn with that championship. For several days now, we've been hearing a lot of rumblings, all the way down from Orlando, Florida, up to Stamford, Connecticut, that Kevin Owens was the name that's being tossed around more than anyone else. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and Braun Strowman. Kevin Owens is the name from Orlando to Stamford that everyone's talking about is the one that's walking out of SummerSlam, walking out of Brooklyn with that strap. Now, it wasn't enough to merit a video, right? I mean, there was a lot of rumblings, guys. Usually when there's that much talk, I think it's enough merit to make a video. There's enough substance to the rumor where I can make a video. However, it was just a lot of gabbing, a lot of talk. So there wasn't really anything else, any other evidence, any other facts to make me believe that that is what's going to happen. It's just too early. And we know Vince McMahon, he doesn't make a last-minute decision until last minute. He doesn't make a decision until people are going through the curtain sometimes, man. That's just how Vince is. He's a very contradictive person. He has plans set up for many, many months. He's got everything planned out for months and months, Vince McMahon. But then he's also the person to change it in a snap of a finger. In a blink of an eye, Vince will change his own months of planning. So you never know with Vince, man. But what happened just in the last 24 hours that I got wind of it, it may have broken 2 days ago, but in the last 24 hours, it really started becoming a little bit of a story. And that is that the AT&T Center in San Antonio, Texas, that is going to be the host for Hell in a Cell, which is the pay-per-view right after SummerSlam. They have already leaked out their advertisement and marketing plans, right? And they have marketing that's on posters. They have an actual video on their website. Maybe it's even on YouTube, who knows? But they just had an all-out blitz on their marketing campaign for Hell in a Cell. And on this marketing campaign, the main event, they're advertising a double main event, Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles inside Hell in a Cell for the World Heavyweight Championship. And the other main event inside Hell in a Cell is Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. That's already official on the AT&T Center. Now, card is always subject to change whenever you go to a live event or a pay-per-view. WWE always puts in small letters, card subject to change. That way Vince can always change it the snap of a fingers in case somebody gets injured, they're not feeling well, or he just wants to switch people out. Card is always subject to change. That could be weeks in advance before Hell in a Cell. That could be 2 hours before Hell in a Cell. But for right now, it wasn't just that's going to be the card. That wasn't just marketing and campaign strategy to put on a poster. This was an actual video that I saw as well. So not just in writing on their website, they released a video, and it has Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. They're just not putting for the Universal Championship yet because they didn't want to totally leak this thing out. They didn't want to totally spoil it. But let's put on our common sense hats for a second, shall we? If Braun Strowman defeats Kevin Owens, then why would Kevin Owens then go on to face Roman Reigns for the championship a month later? What did Kevin Owens do to deserve a title shot? He just lost to Braun. So just because Braun has the money in the lunchbox contract, he can't get title shots before that? So it's almost like having that briefcase is a bad thing. Because if Braun beats Kevin Owens, he would easily become the #1 contender. So then he'd be the #1 contender and he'd have the briefcase, the lunchbox. So he's sitting pretty, right? But so far, they're not giving Braun Strowman any contendership. He wasn't even in that little mini tournament to decide the number one contender. So this lunchbox for Braun Strowman is just a curse for him right now. But we fully anticipate Roman Reigns defeating Brock Lesnar, right, and getting that championship. So if Owens loses to Braun, how would Owens go? So Owens has to beat Braun Strowman, right? Owens has to get the briefcase. And then it makes perfect sense that Roman Reigns would defeat Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, and then after the match, when all of Brooklyn is booing Roman Reigns, Owens slips in for the cash-in. Or maybe Lesnar goes ballistic and takes out Roman Reigns after the match. Sore loser status. And Kevin Owens comes in and takes the championship at SummerSlam. And then the rematch, just a month later at Hell in a Cell, inside Hell in a Cell, Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns. It makes perfect sense. That's the only way you can insert Kevin Owens into this. Because what's the only other option? Brock Lesnar keeps his championship? So how does Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens in 4 weeks now rekindle a feud that we've already seen? We've already seen Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. So if a championship is on the line, why the fuck would anybody give a shit about them being inside Hell in a Cell? With just 4 weeks to build that story. I'm not buying that shit. There has to be the championship, and that's why it's a double main event. AJ Styles and Samoa Joe inside Hell in a Cell, and on the other side for Raw, I fully believe it's going to be for the championship, Roman versus Owens. And if that's the case, and Roman Reigns has the championship, well, Owens, what's he going to do? He's not going to have the briefcase and become number one contender, right? I hope you guys are seeing where I'm coming from here. That's, again, do your own research. Unless they took it down, WWE could be getting pissed. They might have had AT&T Center take it down. But on the AT&T Center for San Antonio, Texas, on their website, all over the place that does their marketing and campaigning for their promotional work, it is stating that Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens is your main event. They just didn't put the Universal Championship. They didn't highlight that yet, because they didn't want to totally put out a spoiler. But if you put on your common sense hat, that's obviously going to be for the Universal Championship. Because if Brock still has that championship and you're giving me Kevin Owens and Roman, but why? Why would you? They're not even in a story together. And that would mean that Owens has to beat Braun Strowman, slip in at SummerSlam at the end of Reigns' match and cost Reigns the champion. Take the championship from a freshly crowned champion in Roman Reigns. So Reigns wins it, and then Owens wins it. And then that way you can tell a story going forward. Now Reigns is pissed off. Reigns is cashing in his rematch clause. And he wants it inside Hell in a Cell. He doesn't just want to take his championship back. He's going to make Owens pay for being a fucking snake and ruining his moment in Brooklyn. And that would be the only way that they could end SummerSlam in Brooklyn without the crowd totally not going ballistic. I mean, obviously Roman's gonna have his fans. I'm not shitting on any of Roman's fans. He'll have his fans. But a lot of Brooklyn, I'm telling you, it's my homeland. Not Brooklyn, but New York City as a whole. I'm telling you right now, he's gonna get shit on a lot. So a lot of displeased fucking fans when SummerSlam goes off the air if it's just Roman holding up the championship. I honestly believe Owens is going to cash in that night. So he's going to beat Braun and then take out Roman Reigns. That's the only way they can go about it. And that would align with what we've been hearing for the past several days from Orlando to Stanford. And everybody in the know has been talking about how Kevin Owens' name is fastly rising up the charts as the top guy to take out Roman Reigns and take the championship out of SummerSlam, out of Brooklyn. It makes total fucking sense. Now it all makes sense, man. And you got the AT&T Center for Hell in a Cell, San Antonio, Texas, already giving out that promotional. That is the rematch, because it looks to be a rematch. It looks like Owens is going to cash in. Or does he make it a triple threat? Owens makes it a triple threat, so it's not just him beating Roman Reigns. It's literally Owens winning a triple threat, kind of like what Seth Rollins did at WrestleMania 31. There's so many scenarios, I probably already confused you guys. But if Braun Strowman keeps his lunchbox, that Money in the Bank contract, then how the fuck is Kevin Owens now taking on Roman 4 weeks after SummerSlam inside Hell in a Cell in a main event spot? He just lost to Braun. Kevin Owens should be nowhere near a main event. And if Brock keeps the championship, then what? He's now off another big pay-per-view, Hell in a Cell. So now the championship remains on somebody who is still never showing up and has claimed and has admitted he doesn't even watch the show. The belt has to come off of Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. It has to. So why the fuck would Owens and Reigns be the main event at Hell in a Cell inside the cage if it's not for the Universal Championship? Again, the only scenario is Owens defeats Braun Strowman if that's the case. If Roman Reigns walks out of Brooklyn the champion, and they're advertising Kevin Owens versus Reigns at Hell in a Cell, well then obviously Owens defeated Braun. Because if Owens gets beat by Braun and Roman Reigns walks out the champion at SummerSlam, then how the hell did Owens earn a shot at the championship when he lost the briefcase match? So you lose the briefcase match, and then a month later, you're in the main event for the championship. So you never even needed the briefcase. And if that's the case, why wouldn't Strowman? If Strowman defeats Kevin Owens, wouldn't Strowman be the one to take on Roman at Hell in a Cell? Why would it be Kevin Owens? He's the one who got beat by Braun. So again, that would just mean the briefcase is a curse. It's a bad thing to hold the briefcase because then you can't get any title shots. You have to just cash in whenever you can. I hope you guys are keeping track, man. There's no other scenario or situation. I think I went over all of them, right? Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, main event, Hell in a Cell, inside the cell. I believe the championship is going to be on the line. I think it's going to be a rematch because I believe what I am hearing is true. Kevin Owens is the one. As of now, we still have a week and a half to go. Vince could fucking totally do a 360. But I believe Kevin Owens is walking out of SummerSlam, walking out of Brooklyn as the new Universal Champion. I honestly believe the AT&T Center in San Antonio, Texas, the host for Hell in a Cell, I believe they already spoiled the outcome for SummerSlam. But we're all going to tune in because we don't fucking know. Is this a legit spoiler or not? Did the AT&T Center spoil it in full? Or is there going to be some fucking shenanigans being pulled where we don't know the whole story? We don't know the full story. We're going to be tuning in now out of just fucking pure anticipation for wondering what the fuck's going to happen. Suspense, right? I guess this is the one thing they got, man. All these fucking rumors and all these fucking spoilers and leaks are coming out. So now everyone's like, which one's true? Paul Heyman, at the end of Renee Young's interview on Monday night, they didn't air this. After it aired, WWE Network aired an extra minute of footage that they didn't show on Raw. And Paul Heyman on Raw ended that segment with Renee Young by saying, there's no way Roman Reigns has a chance of beating Brock Lesnar. And then they cut the interview. And then as Paul Heyman was taking off his mic, Paul Heyman said, unless... No, forget it. And Renee Young's like, what? Unless what? Unless Roman does what, Paul? And Paul's like, no, I'm not telling you. So they're even trying to tease that Paul Heyman is going to help Roman Reigns. There's so much shit. It may not be the best card we've ever seen for SummerSlam, but there is a lot of suspense. The anticipation is building as to which leak is true, which spoiler is true. Is Paul going to fucking join forces with Roman? Would Roman turn heel? Is Kevin Owens actually going to beat Braun and take the briefcase? And then is he going to cash in that night? Why is Roman and Kevin Owens the championship match, or at least the main event in Hell in a Cell? All of these questions will be answered on the 19th, guys. But that is a huge spoiler by the AT&T Center to already release their double main event for Hell in a Cell, because that also tells you that AJ Styles and Samoa Joe is not finished at SummerSlam. That leads me to believe AJ Styles is losing his championship, right? Because then he would invoke his rematch clause. Because if Samoa Joe just loses, why would he get another title shot the next month? I have no fucking idea. Or maybe their match ends in some shenanigans and there isn't a clear winner. We've seen that with Shinsuke and AJ Styles numerous times. So that's your double main event. They're also advertising Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton. So that's why you're not seeing Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy at SummerSlam. Instead, it's going to be Jeff Hardy trying to take the championship from Shinsuke Nakamura at SummerSlam. And then at Hell in a Cell, Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy. So those are 3 matches for Hell in a Cell. But again, they might have just spoiled the outcome of SummerSlam. And if that's the case, I'm cool with it, man. If Kevin Owens is the one walking out of Brooklyn with that championship strap, that's fucking badass. Because he's got unfinished business with that strap. Remember, it was Goldberg. I believe it was, the plan was to have fucking Goldberg and Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. And then they were going to fast-track Goldberg to the championship so that he could lose it to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And that's exactly what ended up happening. But I believe the plan from the beginning was not that. I believe Kevin Owens was supposed to hold the championship all the way to WrestleMania. Instead, they wanted to go Goldberg, have him hold it for a month, month and a half, and then drop it to Brock Lesnar. So I believe shit got fucked up. But I believe Owens was supposed to hold it a lot longer than that. And maybe even Brock takes it from him. But once Goldberg re-signed for an extended amount of time, because it was only supposed to be Survivor Series, then he signed a longer contract that'll get him to WrestleMania. Once Goldberg did that, that spoke volumes on the end of Kevin Owens' title reign. I believe he's got unfinished business, and Kevin Owens wants that shit back, and I think he deserves that shit back. I think he'd be a much better fucking champion, obviously, than Brock Lesnar, and this is coming from a Lesnar fan. I think Lesnar has that big fight feel presence. He brings that big fight feel to the ring, that feeling to the ring, and he brings that badass, real-life shoot style to his opponents. I love that shit. Some call it stiff, I call it badass. But I'll be the first one to agree that he cannot walk out of SummerSlam with that strap. And I gotta be honest, I don't think Roman can either. It's Brooklyn. Kevin Owens walking out of it? That's badass. Then you can set up Roman and Owens at Hell in a Cell. That's fucking pretty badass. So let's get right into, we'll start over on YouTube with some questions here. We got John. John says, I have a question. Hopefully you see this, but I would like to know what is a way the Bellas could return as a team, come back at Evolution, and win the tag straps, or one of them goes to SmackDown for the Women's Championship, or just an interesting storyline in general for the Bellas. In parentheses, John says, I'm not fond of the Bellas, I just wanted to know. I don't know, man. The Bella Twins are a tricky subject because you can't really, you never know if they're going to stick around. They have so many other endeavors that they're kind of dabbing into, and that's great for them. I don't think wrestling from the beginning was ever their passion up front. You know, they were always looking to do all these other things. Modeling was their first main goal, obviously. They had all of these other aspirations. They found their way into WWE, found some success. And years ago, if you remember when they first left, guys, they left to try their luck anyway in Hollywood, right? So they left WWE for higher pastures, greater pastures, greener pastures. But it didn't work out for them. So they came back to WWE. Got that fan adulation back, got some high spots back, got that notoriety back, got their name back out there, got their name much higher again, and then they kind of left again, right, to do all these other things. Total Bellas really kicked in, Total Divas, then Total Bellas. So all these things started happening. Then their wine company, their clothing, whatever the fuck they're doing. They're doing all these other things, but it's because of WWE and their hard work. You can't have one without the other. So that's awesome for them, but that also means, what do you really give them if they come back? Do you throw championships on them? We just saw how that works with Brock Lesnar. What if you throw championships on them and then they gotta go, take care of their wine company or their clothing company or fucking Birdie Bee or whatever it's called. Whatever the fuck their company is. They got like 3 different companies. Wonder if they need to go shoot Total Bellas and then Total Divas, or both at the same time. What if they want to start up something new? You never know. I think putting a championship on them, I don't know if they can meet all their commitments, or it's just going to be another like Brock Lesnar. So, as far as putting like the SmackDown Women's Championship on them, or the Raw Women's Championship on them, I think that's going too far. Tag team, like you started out your question, would you have them win like at Evolution, for instance? Absolutely, I could see something like that. The Bellas were a tag team, if you think about it, before tag team wrestling was even a concept for the women. And when I say concept, I'm saying when the concept was really started to get talked about a couple of years ago. Now we're actually talking about the division starting. A couple of years ago, it was just a concept that we were talking about. And even back before that, the Bellas were tag teaming with each other. In real life and on screen. The Bellas are what you would think about as a tag team. When you think tag teams for WWE, you really only think about like the Iconics, for instance. Not the fucking Sasha and Bailey bullshit that's happening. Sasha Banks, I can speak, should be going for fucking Raw championships and a SmackDown champ. She should have both those fucking championships. Instead, Charlotte's going for the championship over on SmackDown, and Sasha Banks is playing with the fucking tag team of Bailey. But when I think tag teams, I think of an actual unit. And I think of like the Iconics, even though they're nowhere near getting championships, they still have a lot of improving to go in the ring. But you think of their chemistry and what they have together and what they are. You don't think of one without the other. I think of fucking Peyton Royce, I think of Billie Kay. If I think of Billie Kay, I'm thinking of Peyton Royce. When you think the Bellas, you think Nikki, you think Brie. When you think Brie, you think Nikki. That's a tag team. Shawn Michaels had to earn his singular persona, for me anyway, and I know for a lot of wrestling fans. He had to earn his singles competitor, the way we looked at him as a singles competitor. I'll say it that way. Because for the longest time, he was Shawn Michaels of the Rockers. When you thought of Shawn Michaels, you thought of Marty Jannetty. When you thought of Hawk, you thought of Animal, the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors. That was a tag team. I think that's what's special about a tag team, and absolutely I see the Bellas, if not the first ever tag team champions, because it looks like they want to do that with Sasha and Bailey. I think they would be perfect down the road for them. The thing is, do they have the time for WWE? Or is WWE just like a side project, and their other projects are their main focus right now? Because I'm telling you right now, their main focus is their other projects. WWE is very low on their totem pole. So, and you gotta remember, Brie Bella just had a kid. Does she really want to go full-time again? Probably not. Does Nikki Bella, who had a neck injury and a back injury, does she really want to go full-time again? Probably not. So, makes you think. I don't know if they can even get championships, John. It would be cool to see them at Evolution. I definitely believe we're going to. But I don't know if you could start throwing straps on them. So I'm not even gonna go there, John. We'll go 25-25 Derek. Hey BC, much appreciated you answering my question on Q&A last week. Oh, so I got to you last week and this week. I promise you guys, it's random. So 25-25 Derek just got lucky, man, last week and this week. But I'm glad I could get you to you twice, 25-25 Derek. You're the highlight of my days. I throw you on in the background during my workouts. Hey, that's cool, man. Whenever I think background, I think when I first moved to New York. And I didn't really have a plan. I just knew I was creative and I wanted to get into the entertainment industry. I didn't really have a plan. I didn't know how hard it was really going to be. I knew it was going to be hard, but I didn't know how expensive everything was in New York. I came from a small town where milk was $3 a gallon. You go to New York, and at times it was $7, $8 a gallon when I first moved there years ago. So I was like, oh, fuck, this is different. So I got a job in retail, and on my days off, I would do what was called background acting. So I was just, you ever see like TV shows and movies? All of the people you see in the background, like in the streets, walking on the sidewalk, everyone behind the main characters, they're getting paid, guys. Whoever is doing the production, if you're watching the TV show Law & Order, that's one of them that I did. Blue Bloods, fucking CSI New York. All of those type of television shows, when you see everybody in the street or people in the courtroom, those are all paid actors, guys. They go through agencies, and there's two things. There's a union that are making hundreds of dollars per episode per 12-hour shift or 16 hours, however long it takes to film. And if you're non-union, you're not even part of a union, you're still getting almost $200 for appearing on camera. But everybody you see on TV, on television shows, those are not actual people. Those are paid actors. And I was one of them. I would go to my retail job, and then on my days off, I would be background acting for Law & Order, Blue Bloods, all those television shows, anything that was filming in New York. And then finally, I was fortunate enough, I should say, to land a job with the New York Knicks on their entertainment team. And I met some people that put me in some prime roles on some reenactment shows. And I got to be the star on that, so that was really cool, going from background to like being the main focal point. And then from there, I was able to do some really high-profile commercials. And now here I am making my own fucking movies and really calling my own shots. But I started doing background, man. So anyway, that's a side rant, guys. I'm shooting the shit for a fucking hour. I can talk about whatever I want. If I bored anybody, too fucking bad. I'm giving you a little bit of history of when I moved to New York City, man. And the struggle was real, man. I started at the very bottom. And hard work pays off, you know? And then you see yourself on commercials and shit, and you're like, wow, man. I was fucking... I was walking a mile behind main characters when I first got to New York. Now I'm the shit. Anyway, 25-20. Let's get back to the questions, will we? You're the highlight of my days. I throw you on in the background when I'm doing my workouts. I'm glad, whether I'm in the background, the foreground, as long as you're listening to the Amplified Man and I'm getting you through those workouts and you're kicking ass. That's what I want to hear. 25-25, Derek. Now to your question, finally. For Q&A this week, watching face Roman Reigns shoved in our face 10 times on Raw this week, it's clear that he badly needs a heel turn to save his character. What do you think would be the perfect way to do it and turn Roman into a super heel? Right at SummerSlam, I've answered this a number of times, 25-25, Derek, but I'm going to give you a specific way. I'm going to exclude the whole Kevin Owens spoiler that we talked about earlier. What I would do at SummerSlam is I have Roman Reigns defeat Brock Lesnar by the Authority coming out and screwing Brock Lesnar over. Vince McMahon, Triple H, and Stephanie all come out, and they basically do a Bret the Hitman Hart, Shawn Michaels from Survivor Series 1997. And they literally screw Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar is fucking pissed beyond belief. And this way, if Brock ever shows back up, Brock has a story now to be the beast he was meant to be and destroy everything and everyone in his path when he returns. That gives him a good story when he comes back. But what it does for Roman Reigns, and to finally turn him into a super heel, is he doesn't know what to think. He won the championship, but the Authority screwed Brock out of it. The Authority helped Roman. So now the crowd that would have been initially just booing him out of the building, they still might, but now they're a little fucking confused. What is going on? Is Roman really with the Authority? Do they have something? Was the Authority just trying to reach out to Roman? What is going on? And then we find out Monday Night Raw, the night after SummerSlam kicks off, with the Authority telling Roman Reigns that he should join him, and they will make sure they will ensure that he does not drop that championship anytime soon. The Authority tells Roman at the beginning of that Raw that Roman Reigns will go on to become the biggest and longest reigning champion of all time. But Roman is like, no, I don't want to win it this way. This isn't how I want to win it. I want to earn it. This is what I'm all about. And he wants to give it back. But the Authority says, think about it, Roman. Think about what you're doing. We're going to give you to the end of the night. At the end of the night, if you want to give us the championship back, we'll come out. We'll meet right here in the middle of the ring and you give us the belt back. That's fine. But think about it. And hopefully you come to the right decision. And at the end of that Monday Night Raw, they all meet in the middle of the ring again, and it's time for Roman's decision. And Roman Reigns is still thinking about giving the championship back. Obviously, that's not how Roman wanted to win it. But again, the Authority is telling Roman, think about what the fuck you're doing. You join with us, you're a champion for as long as we want, as long as we say you are. To eternity and fucking back, motherfucker. But you just want to give it back, what, for your ego? For these fans? These fans, more than half, fucking boo you. They can't stand you. And that's when Dean Ambrose comes back. Not at SummerSlam. Dean Ambrose music hits. The crowd's going fucking nuts. Here comes Dean Ambrose. And Dean Ambrose is in the face of all the Authority members. And he is barking at them. That's not who Roman is. People like me and Roman, Dean Ambrose is saying, we fall from a totally different fucking tree. We ain't like everybody else. We literally earn everything that we get in life. We never take these hand-me-downs, and we're not going to take one from you. Dean Ambrose is going ballistic, telling Roman, give that shit back, without saying shit. But you get the point. Dean Ambrose is saying, give that back, and we're going to earn it the right way. And me and Roman, we're going to whoop that ass from here on out. And Roman Reigns is like, are we? Fuck, you're right. You're fucking Dean Ambrose. I gotta listen to you, man. Like, you're fucking... That's who we are. We earn shit. And the crowd's going nuts. Like, don't do it. Yeah, do it. Don't do it. Yeah, do it. And Roman goes to hand the title over, and Dean Ambrose is like, that's right, motherfucker. And then, wham! Roman slams that championship into Dean Ambrose's face. Right in his dome piece. Dean Ambrose drops like a ton of bricks. Roman gets on him and starts the beatdown. Triple H is joining in on the beatdown. Stephanie and Vince McMahon are cheering him on. Vince McMahon is even throwing in some stomps. The heel turn is official. And Dean Ambrose is now the culprit. He's the victim. He's the one getting victimized, getting beat up. Seth Rollins goes to come out. He comes out to help out Dean Ambrose. But Triple H and Roman jump on him. But at least it's somebody to get Dean Ambrose some fucking breaths back. Try to get Dean Ambrose back to his feet. But only for a minute, because Tommaso Ciampa now comes out. The debut of Tommaso Ciampa. He comes down to the aisle or through the crowd. And it's quickly realized that he has joined authority. When he jumps Seth Rollins, he takes out Rollins. This puts Roman Reigns and Triple H back on Dean Ambrose. This sets up two high-profile matches going forward. Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins versus Tommaso Ciampa. Really? Ciampa versus Rollins? That'll steal every fucking show that it's on. And Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns just beating the fuck out of each other? I'll pay for that shit. On the same card that has Ciampa and Rollins, this sets up two badass feuds, and this makes Roman Reigns that legit super heel. And it's all done in a beautiful story. Goosebumps. Book that shit, Vince. Nah, way. You ain't got the fucking balls to do that. Let's move on. Chauncey, hey BC for Q&A. Does Daniel Bryan versus The Miz build... Oh, I'm sorry. Let me repeat that. I said the question kind of wrong. Chauncey says, hey, BC for Q&A. Does Daniel Bryan versus The Miz build remind you of John Cena and Nikki Bella versus Miz and Maurice? Because there was real heat before. Nothing but love. Been a member since SummerSlam 2016. Thank you, Chauncey. Right back at you. It doesn't remind me at all like Miz Daniel Bryan. Yes, there was a little bit of heat between John Cena and The Miz, but... that's just a little bit of jealousy, right? I think you have two guys that were huge wrestling fans growing up. They both got to become WWE superstars. One got fucking the highest spot possible, and the other one was always kind of stuck in the mid-card. Even when he was the champion, heavyweight champion, Miz was always kind of mid-cardish, while John Cena was always the guy. And... so there was jealousy in there, and then when you flip it, The Miz always easily transitioned into acting in other areas of entertainment, where John Cena never really was comfortable at first. Believe it or not, even though John Cena got bigger roles, and John Cena is actually good acting and doing other roles in entertainment, but he never liked it like The Miz did. He didn't transition as easily as The Miz did, believe it or not. So I think John Cena kind of envied that in The Miz. So you had two people that have a lot of similarities. I think that's where a lot of the heat stemmed from. But after a while, guys, for the last several years, they're pretty tight, actually. They're pretty close. There's nothing but respect between the two. With Daniel Bryan and The Miz, this is just two people that don't like one thing about each other. Literally. Daniel Bryan literally looks at The Miz and doesn't like anything about his lifestyle. How he's always really wearing these nice suits, pumping up his ego. He thinks that's the way to live life, by this big persona, by this big fake being. And then Miz looks at Daniel Bryan literally like a farm animal, like a fucking goat. Not the greatest of all time, literally a goat. And like, why don't you have more respect for yourself? Dress a little classier. You know what I mean? Whatever. Eat your fake burgers while I'm eating this fucking double cheese. You know, I don't know, man. It's just, I think Daniel Bryan literally looks at The Miz and says, I do think you're soft. I do think you're a coward. I don't think you've really earned your way in the wrestling business. And The Miz looks at Daniel Bryan with great disdain because, and anger and frustration, because he thinks he did earn his way in the business. Just because it wasn't the independents doesn't mean he didn't earn his way. So he looks at Daniel Bryan and says your way isn't necessarily the right way. Hope you guys are keeping track. I think there's really, I know there's really animosity. They're going to be professional when they get in the ring, absolutely. But I think they're both going to try to prove their case. All of these last couple years of sparring with words, they're going to go in that ring and they're going to show each other, maybe through some stiff shots, maybe a little off plan, off script. They're going to show the other. They're going to prove their case to the other inside the ring, and that's what's awesome. Not just the story, but the actual match. I honestly believe it's going to deliver because you have art imitating real life and real life imitating art. I love that shit. Do one more on this page, guys. Takai, where the fuck you at? Takal. I say that every time when I get one of these questions, man. I'm glad I come across that just so I can say that. Hey, BC, for Q&A, do you think when Undertaker is gone, we will start seeing the return of Demon Balor? And how would you book him? I do think when Undertaker is gone, we're going to see Demon Balor because I believe that's the only reason we're not seeing Demon Balor. I think they think there's too close of a gimmick similarity between the two, Undertaker and Balor. So I think Undertaker went to Vince, or Vince just thought, you know what, too close. Our merchandising, we're going to have like a dead man and a demon. I don't really want that. So once the Undertaker's gone, I believe then you're going to start to see Demon Balor again. I know Balor... he wasn't fond of doing the demon too much, he said in interviews, because it's a lot of work. The painting on his back, his face, it takes a lot of work. But he was only doing it once every few months. Every other pay-per-view anyway is all you have to do it. So it's not a lot of work. You're regular Club Balor, and then at the big pay-per-views, you're Demon Balor. It's really not that hard. I'll fucking voluntarily fucking spray paint you if you need to. I'll get somebody to fucking travel with you and spray paint you. For free! It's not that fucking hard to do. Or fucking paint, spray, whatever the fuck it is. I'm sure people will paint you for free. We'll get it done in a half an hour. It doesn't have to be as elaborate as it was. But the Demon Balor is obviously going to sell a lot more merchandise. But for me, the Demon Balor was an instant superstar. I know, some people are like, it's the same character with the same moves. No, it's not the same. It's a different character! That's like saying the American Badass is the same thing as The Undertaker. That's like saying Husky Harris is the same thing as Bray Wyatt. No, it is not! That's like saying Papa Shango is the same as the Godfather. Bullshit! They're different characters. People like to tell me it's the same moves, so it's the same. No, Papa Shango had the same moves as fucking Godfather. But when Papa Shango, he was all mysterious and it was different movements, right? And his mannerisms, everything was different. The dead man's mannerisms and movements are different than the American Badass. I can go on and on and on. Bray Wyatt, different than Husky Harris. Of course they're going to have similar wrestling moves. It is the same person, but the character's different. And all it takes is that character switch. Husky Harris wasn't going to be fucking main eventing, but Bray Wyatt went on to be heavyweight champion. When The Undertaker was Mean Mark Calloway in WCW, they had nothing for him. Over as The Undertaker, he was winning championships. Papa Shango was lost in flux when he became the Godfather and let loose, man. People love that motherfucker. Even though I loved Papa Shango, but a lot of people didn't gravitate. He scared the shit out of kids. What I'm saying is the character means the world. Club Balor, I don't know if he can ever come out of that mid-card obscurity. He's always going to be a mid-carder, I look at it as. Because WWE looks at it that way too. I just see like a cruiserweight in Balor when he's Club Balor. But when he's that demon, man, he becomes, to me, an instant superstar. But I really do feel like they're waiting for The Undertaker to actually retire. I don't see why you can't have your cake and eat it too. Why not have The Undertaker in Demon Balor? Because right now, both of them are not on our TV month after month, year after year. Oh, I'm sorry, The Undertaker shows up once, maybe twice a year, maybe. That's the reason the Demon's out? Or the reason is because Finn Balor doesn't want to do the paint job and doesn't want to do that gimmick? You're only doing it like 4, 5, 6 times a year tops. You really don't want to fucking do that? Make a boatload of money? Raise right back up to... Remember when he was the demon on the main roster, guys? What happened? He was the Universal Champion. Of course, he got injured. Lost it like a day later. But he was the champion with that character. While he's not been the demon, he's lost in mid-card obscurity. So there's your facts. Hopefully that answers that. Where the fuck you at? Takai, Takal. What song is that again? Somebody actually left a comment after I did that a few weeks ago. Fucking Trick Daddy? Was it Trick Daddy? Or was it fucking somebody else? Where the fuck you at, Tikal? Somebody fucking find out. I gotta Google that shit. It's an old rap song I used to listen to. Let's move on, shall we? So, let's go over to Twitter for a second here. Ali, hey BC, if you could put a perfect all-time announce team together, who would be in it? Plus, who do you think should replace Jonathan Coachman? Subscriber since day one, much love and keep kicking ass. You too, Ali. Renee Young, first of all, I'm going to answer your second question first, and this aligns with your first question. Who do I think should replace Jonathan Coachman? Renee Young. Guess who is replacing Jonathan Coachman this Monday? Renee Young. WWE has already announced it. You guys probably already know. I made a video about it several hours ago. If you don't know, I'll have the link to that at the end of this video. It'll pop up next to one of my shoulders, and you will just click on that box. That'll take you to the Renee Young video that I made earlier today. If you already saw it, then you already know what I'm talking about. But I already made a video. WWE has announced Renee Young is replacing Jonathan Coachman this Monday. Now, WWE is saying Jonathan Coachman has a prior engagement. That's a bunch of bullshit. This is obviously fitting in with their agenda of having Renee Young do more commentary. Renee Young is teaming up with Beth Phoenix to do commentary with Michael Cole at the Mae Young Classic. So this is adding on to that. I think WWE knows that they're not fond of Jonathan Coachman. Jonathan Coachman is not really taking to the commentary booth. He's really messy and sloppy at the booth. He, at times, it doesn't seem like he even knows what he's talking about. He's coming out with like the word of the hour, like it's Sesame Street. He's not making any sense. I think WWE knows, like the fans, that it's tragic, Jonathan Coachman. It needs to be changed. Who better than Renee Young? I've said this when I started the channel, and here we are now, over a year and a half later, and I'm still saying Renee Young should be the one. She's going to do it this Monday, and I hope that she has the chance to keep on doing it in the future. Because Renee Young mixing it up with Corey Graves, I think I hope there's this chemistry there. Obviously, Corey Graves can't, like, pick on Renee Young like he does with, like, a Coachman and spar with Coachman and pick on Byron Saxton like he does on SmackDown. That's a really cool chemistry. It's not bullying. It's a fun chemistry. I hope that Renee and Corey Graves can have a good chemistry Monday night and hopefully going forward. Because if Renee Young can put Corey Graves in his place, but then Corey Graves can, like, try to take shots at Renee and they can go back, I think that's fun as hell, man. And Michael Cole kind of be like the moderator between the two. I also think that Renee Young would fit perfectly on SmackDown. Give Corey Graves that off. I don't want Corey Graves to, you know, his fucking brain to start smoking. To do Monday Night Raw and SmackDown and to constantly have Vince McMahon in your ear and complaining or telling you you're doing something wrong, that could be a lot for somebody to take. Just ask Taz. Just ask Mick Foley. One of the main reasons they wanted off of that commentary booth was because of Vince McMahon constantly in your ear. Poor Corey Graves has to deal with it Mondays and Tuesdays. Give him Tuesdays off, and I think Renee Young with Byron Saxton would be a good little fucking duo as well. And you have Tom Phillips kind of being the moderator between the two there. But I think that's a good team. Renee Young on any fucking team is fucking badass, and it's brilliant. So it's going to be good to see. So that's who I would have replace Jonathan Coachman, Renee Young. And guess what? I get my wish come true this Monday. We all do. Renee Young will be replacing Jonathan Coachman. And again, for now, it's just for this Monday. Hopefully she does so good that social media explodes and is like, what the fuck? Let's put her in here all the time. And hopefully WWE does that. As far as perfect, the announced team for all time, man, just give me Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler in their prime, and I'm a happy dude, man. Now, of course, everything has changed. Jerry Lawler isn't in it now as much as he once was. Jim Ross is kind of, I don't know. They're not in their prime anymore, broadcast-wise. But if I had Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler in their prime, that's my perfect broadcast team, and I'm just so grateful that we got that for so many years back in the Attitude Era. Man, Jim Ross, dude. He's on fire, damn it, he's on fire! What the hell is going on? It's Austin 316! My God, King! My God, he's getting beat like a government mule, King! Oh my god, man. Just what his voice could do for a story and an angle. Giving me goosebumps. I'm about to fucking, when this video ends, go watch Attitude Era Raws. I'm about to hit up the network. But yeah, that's it's going to be great to see Renee Young, though. So hopefully that answers that, Ali, at least in some way. Brandon, Q&A, BC, much love and respect. Back at you, Brandon, from the ATL. All right. Let me get your opinion on something. I always watch your pay-per-view booking shows, amplified booking, and before the show, and I'm disappointed because I watch the actual pay-per-views, and then I think about how you lay it out. Should I be watching the pay-per-view first, then watch your booking so I can enjoy the shit they are putting out? And then watch you and see how much better it could have been, like I do with your Raw and SmackDown reviews. So what Brandon is saying is, I think what we all pretty much think after I do these videos, the amplified bookings, he's pretty much saying, should I just not watch them, watch the pay-per-view first, and then go back to your amplified booking? Because what ends up happening, and it's the same thing for me, I'm making the videos, and I totally understand what you guys are telling me. I booked the motherfucker so good that by the time the show comes on, the pay-per-view has no chance. And I'm not going to lie to you, when I'm done with these amplified booking videos, and that camera, the red light goes off, and the video is over, I think to myself, what the fuck did I just do? There's no way WWE can do anything close to what I booked. But here's the thing, guys. I'm not even overbooking it. I'm just thinking creatively. I'm just putting together a good show. That's all I'm doing. And there's no way, if I was overbooking it all the time, I could totally see, okay, that, you know, it's easy just to put everything on paper, but there's no way you could actually do this. No, I put together a card that may sound like it's overbooking because it's so fucking creative, and WWE doesn't do that anymore. They don't get creative. That it might seem overbooking, but it's not. Everything that I give you on amplified booking videos the weekend before the pay-per-view, it's literally shit that can happen realistically. WWE just doesn't have the fucking balls or the brains to put that on paper and then put that from paper onto their fucking screen, onto the pay-per-view. They ain't got the creativity. I do. I'm not going to dumb myself down just to put myself on their level, though. I'm going to make the most epic videos I can, telling you guys exactly how I would be running the company if I was in charge of booking, if I was in charge of creative. But to answer your question, Brandon, I don't know the right recipe. All I can say is when I put a video out, I say just watch it, and then you know what? We're going to hold WWE to a higher standard. We're going to hold them accountable for their bullshit. You know, and if people like me can help do that, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to dumb down my videos. I'm going to make some epic shit. Thanks, Brandon. Pete, great video as always, BC. I'm guessing that was maybe my SmackDown one that I just put out yesterday. Thank you, Pete. Great video as always, BC. Much love and respect to you. Back to you, Pete. And thank you for all you do for us. Thank you for tuning in, Pete. Honestly, without you guys, man, the amplified unit isn't really much of a unit, so thank you. For Amp Q&A, because right now the main roster is crowded in NXT. Oh, crowded in NXT. What would you do? Hold on, I'm fucking this up. Sorry, Pete. Amp Q&A, because right now the main roster is crowded and in NXT, what would you do to fix it and help out the future like Undisputed Era and Aleister Black, Lars Sullivan, just to name a few? I'm grabbing a large coffee and sitting back for this one. God bless you, bro, and thank you. Thank you, Pete. For NXT, and this goes for Tori as well, because Tori asked something like this question, Pete. And Tori was too late. I already had the cutoff. I was just wrapping up all the questions for the video, and then I saw Tori's. But I'm going to add Tori to this. So, Tori, I couldn't get to your question, but it's along the lines of what Pete is saying. And I'm not going to fully answer it right now anyway. But for Pete and for Tori, I'm going to answer this in full. It's going to have its own video tomorrow. Because NXT is a fictional world that Triple H has created. And there's reasons why he did it. And it is absolutely destroying the WWE. Now, the NXT faithful, they're not going to want to hear that. And trust me, I watch NXT. A, I have no choice. It's under the WWE umbrella, so I have to know what the fuck's going on. And B, their shows are good. Their takeovers are really fucking good. But the underlining issue is it's killing a lot of these fucking superstars. It's damaging any chance at all for competition to WWE. And it's killing the shows on the main roster. What do I mean? I'm going to describe in detail exactly what I mean in tomorrow's video. Hopefully I get it out tomorrow. But by this weekend, I'm going to have a video out. And it's literally going to be why NXT is a fictional, delusional world. Because it is absolutely destroying, and it will destroy people like the Undisputed Era, like Aleister Black, like Lars Sullivan. I assure you. Just like you see a guy like Finn Balor in the fucking mid-card. Twiddling his fucking thumbs with Apollo Crews of all people. Tyler Breeze nowhere to be found. Sasha Banks and Bayley fucking hugging fucking each other all the time and fucking giving glasses to the young kids and coming up with corny tag team names. What the fuck? What is going on with the whole fucking roster that is going up? I could go name for name, guys. Bobby Roode, they have nothing for fucking Bobby Roode. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing with Bobby Roode. Ember Moon can't even get screen time on Raw. Ember fucking Moon. Asuka, it only took a few months for her to fucking lose her streak at WrestleMania. And once that happened, we were hoping there was a plan for her. Nope. She's in dark matches. They don't even have anything for Asuka over on SmackDown. I wish I could read Tori's question in full too, guys, because maybe I will tomorrow's video. I have no idea, but it greatly describes more reasons why people should maybe bypass it. Why NXT is actually doing damage to these superstars. I'm going a little way too in detail now. This is almost like making the video now, but it's going to be a separate video, guys. I have a lot to say about it, so it's at least going to be 15, 20 minutes long. Be on the lookout this weekend. It's a whole video about the NXT situation and why it's damaging the professional wrestling world. But everybody, the diehards, want to say, everything should be more NXT and more like NXT. There's reasons why that's impossible. And there's a reason why if you're going to have NXT, you have to do this in a totally different way. Keep putting on the shows like you're doing. Keep it 1 hour. Keep it on the network. Make sure they're dynamite. Absolutely. I love what they're doing in that aspect. However, everything else is crumbling the professional wrestling world. Not just the WWE umbrella. Again, I'll explain tomorrow. But thank you, Pete. Thank you, Tori, for your questions. Amanda, can you do a part 2 of Q&A from now on since there's so many questions? And is the Kiki Challenge part of Tyler's Day 30? Much love and respect. You must be on my Instagram. I kind of did the Kiki Challenge a little bit, right? A little bit of it. No, the Kiki Challenge will not be part of Tyler's Day 30. That movie is based on anger management. Perhaps if the main characters, myself and the others, perhaps if we were doing the Kiki Challenge, we wouldn't be as angry. But then again, it probably wouldn't be a badass movie if we weren't angry. So, no, the Kiki Challenge is not part of Tyler's Day 30, Amanda. But as far as your first question, can you do a part 2 of Q&As from now on, since there's so many questions? I might have to. It takes a lot of time and energy to compile these questions, guys, and then do an outline for the video, and then to obviously put out at least an hour-long video. It takes a lot. So to do a second one, that's a lot of fucking work, and this isn't my job, YouTube. Sometimes you see a YouTuber, and this is his job. They just make videos. It's not mine, man. I'm an entertainer in every aspect, from creative writing to actually doing much other projects to creating my own movie as well. So this is just one project of many that I do on the daily. So I don't have a lot of time, but if I can squeeze it in, I will start doing a second Q&A video, guys. I won't rule it out, but it won't be anytime soon. My schedule is really booked, and really, Tyler's Day 30, it's really my top priority, and it's taking so long to really get this done. And it's going to take a longer too, man. There's a long road ahead as well. So until I can get this movie done, there will not be a part 2 Q&A every week. But maybe in the future. Thank you, Amanda. Keenan, for the Q&A, do you think Dakota Kai versus heel Becky Lynch for the SmackDown Women's Championship would be good for Evolution? I definitely would. That's a badass match. Here's the problem, Keenan. Would they do it correctly? Would they build each superstar correctly and then build their story and feud correctly? If that's the case, I'll take Dakota versus heel Becky Lynch or face Becky Lynch. I think it's a badass match. They would just have to do it correctly. The SGRO Bros, is it Segro Bros? Maybe it's just SGRO Bros Entertainment. BC, my question for AMP Q&A, and this is the greatest question you will ever be asked. What are you sitting on? Is it a yoga ball or some shit? Oh, it's got some fucking give, nice and fucking bouncy. It's like fucking, who's that character? Christopher Robin movie, Tigger, right? It's like I'm sitting on one of his springs. It's surely not a pile of New Day's pancakes. That would be pretty badass to sit on, actually. Comfortable. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm going to leave that up to your own wonderment. What is BC sitting on? It's fucking comfortable, I'll tell you that much, man. It's got some give. I can fucking bounce and be fucking amplified. But I'm not gonna tell you. I'm gonna let you fucking think it out. You'll never know! Unless one day it accidentally gets in the shot. Where do you want to go? Did I answer everything? Kiwan? Coane, I want to say? Hey BC, for Q&A, do you believe an all-women's weekly show should be introduced for talents who aren't used on the main roster shows like Ember Moon, Naomi, Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, among others? With WWE adding more women to their roster of 25, there is going to be a very packed women's division, and not many will get the opportunity to be in main storylines. So, Coane is saying a TV show for the women, maybe. Possibly, but here's the problem. I wouldn't want to see them off of Raw or SmackDown. I think they bring a good vibe to Raw and SmackDown, and they bring a welcome sight sometimes. Sometimes Raw can be so boring that you really want to see the women multiple times. So I wouldn't want them to be just on their own show. But also, if they're going to be on Raw and SmackDown and on a network show, maybe that's exploiting them too much. So I think the perfect thing for the ladies is a 1-hour show on the WWE Network. Kind of like what they do at NXT. Fuck 205 Live. I can give a fuck about 205 Live. An all-hour-long women's show on the network, I think that's fucking epic. It's not exposing them too much because it's not on network TV or broadcast, but it's on the network. So it's an extra bonus for people who want to pay and see more of the women. Not exploiting them at all. You have to pay fucking more and you'll get a whole hour long of the women. I think that's badass. And it gives them a platform. However, it cannot be the only platform. It can't just be the one place you're going to see people like Ember Moon and Naomi. Absolutely not, because they deserve better than that. But it is an extra platform for them to showcase their skills and abilities. So I do think they deserve their own show. I think the network would be the perfect place for it, at least for right now. Where do we want to go, man? I don't want to go over the same shit on you guys. So let's go. We are already creeping on that fucking hour already, man. So I gotta start winding these down, man. I'm gonna go back over to Twitter to take this one from the Red Queen. I believe that's a Red Queen, right? Yes. Hey, BC, for Q&A, do you think an IC or like a US title for the women would be better for showcasing mid-card talent rather than tag titles? All the love and respect. Keep killing it. Thank you, Red Queen. I think a US and or something like an IC strap absolutely would be cool. They would have to do it, I believe, multi-branded, though. I don't think you could have separate championships for both. Just like the tag team championships. So on each brand, like Raw and SmackDown, if you were to have a heavyweight champion for the women, like an IC championship for the women and a tag team, that's a lot to take in. That's a lot to digest when the women only get a couple of segments per show anyway. I think the IC or the US or something like a championship like that, a mid-card championship, would have to be for both brands. In other words, you have I'm not a big fan of tournaments, but this would call for one, Raw has a separate one, SmackDown. The winners of those would take on each other in like a mini-year tournament, or maybe just one from Raw, one from SmackDown, and you crown a new champion. And then you go on some type of rating system. Wins or losses, there's a concept that WWE doesn't care about anymore. Everything's 50-50, but whoever is most deserving, whether it's from SmackDown or Raw, they will get the next opportunity at the next pay-per-view or whatever. So that champion will have to travel between Raw and SmackDown. So it's a much bigger commitment, but you want that commitment. That means you are the best at what you do. If you're not the heavyweight champion, or Raw or SmackDown champion, you are the Intercontinental or the United States for the women. Or I believe you would have to call it something different. But I'm all for a mid-card championship. I'm just not for two of them. Just like I'm all for a tag team championship. I'm just not for two of them. You know, a Raw tag team championship for the women, a SmackDown. I think there should be one unified together. And those champions have to go back and forth from Raw and SmackDown. Doesn't have to be every week. They don't got to be on Raw defending the championships every week. But show up every once in a while if you're from SmackDown. You know, do a SmackDown match. Do a Raw match. Keep them totally off TV 1 week. Have them come back to Raw. At a pay-per-view, they take on the best tag team from Raw or SmackDown for those 2 months or that month. Hopefully that makes sense. But I'm definitely okay. I'm definitely down for more titles for the women. They just have to do it correctly. You can't have just a shitload of titles. But if you unify the brands, I'm down with it. Alright, let's go. Ethan, for Q&A, would you rather Braun's character be like neither heel or face? Or keep Braun as he is? In my opinion, him being a face could ruin him like WWE did to the Big Show and Kane. Thought they could have been way bigger stars. Love and respect you, man. Thank you. Back at you, Ethan. Yeah, Big Show and Kane were used totally in the most wrong way possible, man. Big Show came in with gusto through the ring as Paul White, but then he just got turned into a clown. Every week we didn't know if he was a face or a heel because he was always switching. Same thing with Kane. Kane came into WWE with gusto, the big red monster. He was fucking a top star from the moment he arrived. He was no longer Dr. Isaac Yankem DDS. Jerry Lawler's fucking dentist. No. That fucking Glenn Jacobs was no more. Kane was badass. He was a superstar. And then they started booking him like a clown. And then every other week he was either a heel or a face. You never knew. It's kind of like Nia Jax today. You never know if Nia Jax is a heel or a face. Back in WCW, they knew how to book the Giant. Paul White, the Big Show, was booked like a monster in WCW. I love the way the Big Show was in WCW, the Giant. WWE, they make their giants clowns now. Braun Strowman is carrying around a fucking lunchbox. Braun Strowman, a guy like that, should never have captured Money in the Bank briefcase. Because a guy like that doesn't need to wait to slither into a match after two guys have just had a hard-fought battle. And at the end of this 20-25 minute match, they're all sweating, they're down and out, maybe even fucking bloodied, and here comes Braun Strowman to cash in. A guy like that doesn't need to slither his way into a title victory. I don't know what he's doing with that lunchbox. Keeping his fucking juice box and his sandwich and his cookie nice and fresh, maybe. I have no fucking idea. But you're right, fucking Ethan. As far as a face, I think WWE has lost touch. Vince McMahon has lost touch with how to create and make a monster when they're a face. So I think Braun has to be a heel. But he's a face. It's what we're stuck with. And to be honest, there's not a plethora of actual superstars on the roster because they're putting all their chips on the table for Roman Reigns, but he's getting half the fucking crowd at least every time booing him. So we don't really have superstars being created. People where we all go, wow, they're fucking epic. I cannot wait to see them. Like Stone Cold, like Hulk, like Warrior, like Macho Man. There's none of them anymore. Or The Rock at one point. There's none of them anymore. Who's the one superstar we all show up to the arena and go, oh, I can't wait to see this motherfucker? There is nobody. Seth Rollins is close to that. And then who? There's nobody. Even on SmackDown, AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan would be the top, but they're not screaming this ultra superstar vibe that we cannot wait to get to the arena to see them. And you can tell by their reactions. I missed those Stone Cold reactions. That glass shattered and you were on your... That blood was pulsating through you, man. Hulk Hogan's music would hit back in the day and you stood up and your blood was going. Your pulse was fucking beating. Your heart's going a mile a minute. Dude, Those are the reactions of true superstars, larger than life. You don't have them anymore. Vince doesn't know how to book these motherfuckers, especially Strowman. Look at him. He's walking around with money in a lunchbox. Evolution Gaming, BC for Amplified Q&A. If you had to release one member of the Riot Squad, which would it be? And do you think Liv Morgan has the potential to be the Harley Quinn of WWE? Liv Morgan has the potential to go as far as she wants to in this business. She's improving drastically, which is awesome to see. And she's a little Spitfire. I love them Spitfires. Like Zelina Vega, for instance, you know? And obviously there's comparisons of Liv Morgan and Alexa Bliss. Some would say Morgan is even better than Bliss. Maybe she is. Bliss, I'm telling you, man, she has really... She's got everybody in that locker room, the suits and ties, the people that really matter. She's got them wrapped around her finger because she is given the world. And nobody really knows why. The talent really doesn't back that up. That's no shade to Alexa. I like Alexa Bliss. But who's to say Liv Morgan wouldn't be in that spot? You know, you can't tell me Alexa's a better wrestler than Liv Morgan. You can't tell me that. You're not going to sell me on that. So Liv Morgan definitely has a bright future. About the Harley Quinn of WWE? Yeah, possibly. As far as the one member of Riot Squad, if I had to kick out of not only the Riot Squad, but out of WWE, obviously it's Sarah Logan. I don't know what she brings to the WWE. Horrible on the fucking mic, and lackluster and mediocre at best in the ring. I don't know what value she's bringing other than being a glorified jobber. Oh, I'm sorry. And every other week, rolling up Sasha Banks for a victory. Alright, I believe that shit. Sarah Logan's beating Sasha Banks. Okay, WWE, keep feeding me the bullshit, and I'll keep digesting it. Not! I just said not. Remember that in the fucking, what was that, the 90s? That's what you said when you were fucking... Okay, not! Remember you said not at the end of anything? Everything? That was fucking, I don't know why I said that. That's when you know you're going over an hour in this video. When you start fucking losing it and you start saying things like, not! I love you, not! Oh, sure, I'll give you $50, not! So stupid. But yet I said it anyway. And then I talked about it for 2 more minutes, so. Where the fuck are we going? You want to end it here, or should we do a couple more? I'm losing it, guys. I need another coffee. It's been an hour. We'll do a couple more. How about it? Brandon, what's up, BC? I heard AJ Styles said he wants to face The Undertaker at WrestleMania 35. If this dream match ever happens, how would you book it? Want to hear your thoughts about it. Much love and respect, BC. Thank you, Brandon. So how would I book AJ Styles and Undertaker? I wouldn't. This is the same thing I said in a couple of videos ago. I said why Roman Reigns and The Rock has to happen. That's the match for The Rock at WrestleMania 35, and that's the match for Roman. Cousin versus cousin, family versus family, Rock versus Roman. And it's a brute style versus a brute style. Just let them go in there and beat the shit out of each other. Because The Rock is older now. He's not going to be able to put on these fucking imaginary Dave Meltzer star matches. So people were like commenting, oh no, BC, AJ Styles versus The Rock. They're just going on name. Styles is a big name now, and The Rock was a big... So they're just putting 2 big names together. They're not stopping to think about the match. The match would suck. The Rock is, what, near 50 years old almost, right? Oh, I might be totally... 50, 45? I don't know, man. Between 45 and 50, right? The Rock is older, is my point. He's in his fucking 40s at least. He's not going to... Now, I know AJ Styles is just tipping up 40 now as well, right? 40, 41 is... I forgot. But AJ Styles is in a league of his own. The Rock's headed toward 50, and he... How many times a year does The Rock wrestle, guys? Let me ask that. 0! You want this near 50-year-old guy to go in there with AJ Styles and actually compete? Styles would run circles around him. AJ Styles, as much as we love The Rock, AJ Styles would have to dumb down his in-ring talent to work well with The Rock. You really want to see AJ Styles on the biggest stage of them all dumb down his talent just so he can get some rock bottoms and some few people elbows? The fuck out of here! I want to see AJ Styles in an epic match where AJ Styles can have a classic match with like somebody like Daniel Bryan or Johnny Wrestling. Or if you're going to put somebody of the age of The Undertaker with Styles, no, give me Shawn Michaels and AJ Styles. The Rock and AJ stuff, people like that ain't gonna happen. The Rock can't compete with AJ anymore. Just like The Undertaker and Styles. AJ Styles would have to dumb down his talent to compete with The Undertaker. And you guys know I love The Undertaker and I want to see him at WrestleMania. But he needs to be in there in a dream match with, like, Sting. Not AJ Styles. It sounds great on paper. Wow! Styles and The Rock. Styles and Taker. But then you have to think about the actual match. That's what I'm here for. I think about the whole big picture. So, no, hopefully that answers that, Brandon. It sounds cool on paper. It's great for AJ to say. But AJ Styles does this every single night. And he just hit 40, 41 years old. The Rock's headed toward 50 and doesn't do this at all. And even when he did do this every night, he was not known for his fucking superb in-ring talent. The Rock's charisma captivated everybody in much different ways than just his in-ring style. The Rock was a people elbow and a rock bottom. He wasn't really getting on those ropes and throwing moonsaults or doing 450s or doing high-paced 20-minute matches all the time. No, that was not what The Rock was known for. AJ Styles has no business being in there with The Rock or vice versa. Hopefully that answers that. We'll do one more, guys, and I'm done with this shit. And that is over on Twitter. Marshmallow says hi. Marshmallow or Marshmallow? Marshmallow says hi. That's unique. I like it. Hey BC, my question is, wouldn't it be cool if the New Day customized the tag titles? Maybe a rainbow strap with like pancakes replacing the title plates? Of course it would be cool. Man, I'm all for these belts and how they get to interchange them. I wish the tag belts did that too. Absolutely. Because it brings that unique character to life well, that makes no sense. It brings it to life and onto the strap, if that makes sense. It brings out who they are. How's that? I told you, once we go over an hour and I haven't had a coffee in an hour, guys, I start getting a little loopy. But it brings out their character more. It gives another avenue to show off their character. And when they're holding that strap and they have a piece of them and who they are and who their character is on their strap, that's cool. I love the title plates. I wish it went to the tag straps. Whether they come on tag straps or not, I know this. The tag team championships are hideous. Those pennies and those fucking I call them squashed pennies. Because those tag team championships just look like pennies that got ran over by a Mack truck 76 times. And that same Mack truck backed up 76 times. And the fucking SmackDown champ, or the vice versa, the Raw championships and the SmackDown champ, they look like nickels and pennies that were ran over. You want cool looking tag straps? Go back to those 80s and fucking... right, early 90s too, I believe, right? Maybe even almost all the 90s. Those tag team championships that the fucking Legion of Doom had. Go back and look at those tag team championships. Those were the ones. The Hart Foundation. Jim the Anvil Neidhart and Bret the Hitman Hart. Those tag team titles, they look like championships that you could be proud of putting around your shoulder. These championships today look like fucking toys. And obviously, it's just to sell money. But how much money are they making on squashed pennies? Don't get me started on Brock Lesnar's exploding strawberry championship belt. That's it, guys. Amplified Q&A is over. Well over an hour, but well worth it. I had fun. Hopefully you guys did too. Look forward to making the video about NXT this weekend, so be on the lookout for that. And again, the last 20 seconds, which is coming up of this video, click on one of the sides of my shoulders. Click on that box. That's the Renee Young video that I put up earlier today. Renee Young is replacing Jonathan Coachman this Monday, and I'll have my thoughts about it right now. In one of those corners, it should have popped up. A big, giant size, amplified size coffee right now as I continue to kick Thursday's ass. And for now, you know what time it is. It's time for me to check you guys later.